Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good evening, everyone. Glad to see you. Welcome. Looks like we've got Tony here first, huh? Tony says he wants to get out of here. He's got another meeting or something to go to.
Yeah, we're doing a little double duty tonight.
Yeah, all right. We'll let you go first, I
I
guess.
appreciate it. Good evening. Thank you for some time on your agenda this evening. I will do my best not to take up a lot of time, not because I have somewhere else to go and I'm in a hurry to get out of here, but I don't want to give you the impression I'm trying to get out of here early. So if there's any questions, please ask. Just want to do our annual review. We get together every year right before the renewal, go over everything, and then answer any questions that you have. So no major changes to your policy coverage. Your buildings and content values, for the most part, not for the most part, they go up about 5% every year, so the value of your buildings and content goes up. Your portable equipment value goes up. No changes to your liability coverage. Guaranteed replacement cost on the buildings and contents, the exception of River Road, this building being over 75 years old. It's a replacement cost, not guaranteed replacement cost. The rest of your buildings and contents, 8451 Loop Road, training tower, the storage building, the garage at 7916 River Road, and then headquarters on Loop Road are all guaranteed replacement costs. So the values you see in the policies, and we can go over the values if you want. If there's a catastrophic loss at the headquarters building, for example, that's insured for a little over $3.5 million, almost $3.6 million. If that were to experience a catastrophic loss and we had to replace that building from the ground up, we would guarantee the replacement of that building, even if it costs more than the $3.6 million to replace it, using comparable construction to what was there, same square footage. If the design of the building, whether it be square or rectangular, you want to change that design, you can do that staying within the same square footage and still maintain the guaranteed replacement cost. If you want a bigger building, then you simply pay for the additional extra square footage you want to add on to that or any other building that you have. Okay? So on a blanket basis, we have the buildings and contents insured for just under $13.2 million. The breakdown of that is the River Road 7920 station here is a little over $4.2 million in coverage, just under $200,000 in contents. Contents, as a reminder, are your desks, tables, and chairs, computers, so on and so forth. Not firefighting equipment and obviously not vehicles. They're insured separately under the policy. Okay? 8451 Loop Road, $4.6 million, a little over $160,000 in contents. Your training tower for just under $110,000 of coverage. The storage building at 8451 Loop Road location, just under $12,000 with about $13,500 in contents. The garage on River Road, just under over $55,000 in coverage. A little over $11,000 in contents. Your headquarters, as we talked about earlier, just under $3.6 million in coverage with contents of a little over $171,000. $2,500 deductible. We include flood and earthquake coverage. In flood and earthquake, there's only a $1,000 deductible. And again, guaranteed replacement cost buildings and contents with the exception of this building and replacement cost. Any questions on the property? Liability. Easiest way to describe your liability is we protect you from the outside world when they believe you've done something wrong or didn't do it right. We protect you from yourselves because there's times we don't get along and we have some situations where a member or someone decides to file a claim against the board or the officers or whatever. So we've got the general liability, $1 million per occurrence with a $10 million aggregate. Simply put, we can pay 10 $1 million lawsuits before you run out of liability insurance for the year. These policies run year to year. We have your cyber network security for $500,000 of coverage and your umbrella policy of $6 million. So for any liability claim, with the exception of the cyber, we have the ability to write up to $6 million to cover that claim, including auto liability. We'll get into that in a second. So your general liability, again, we've got your errors and omissions coverage for the decisions made on the fire ground. If somebody believes the chief made the wrong call or the assistant chief, we've got the errors and omissions coverage for that. That's a blanket policy, so if the chief's on vacation, the assistant chief is at work and it's a captain or a lieutenant calling in charge, the blanket E&O covers whoever's in charge from your department or district. We protect you from yourselves, employment practices liability, sexual harassment, wrongful termination, failure to hire, failure to promote. You know, if you suspend somebody because they violated bylaws or SOPs and they don't take their suspension sitting down, they come back to you with an attorney, you protect the district in that, we're going to represent you in that. The claim is settled where we're at fault, then we settle that claim, again, up to $1 million per occurrence limit, $10 million aggregate. Any questions on the liability? Perfect. Your crime and bond, this is the money, the treasurer. We always blame the treasurer. I'm with you on that because I'm the treasurer. My department's still built, so I hear it all the time. We've got everybody covered under a blanket policy of $3 million. That includes the departments, the department treasurers for the business end on the department side, as well as the district side. Faithful performance is included by regulation of the state that the districts have to have it. $10,000 of forgery and alteration coverage. You pay your light bill, you put it in the mailbox, somebody steals a check out of the mailbox and they turn it from a $400 bill into a $4,000 check, and now you're out that money. We've got forgery and alteration coverage. We may want to look at possibly increasing that a little bit. We're seeing some uptick in some forgery and alteration claims, not from within the fire department, from check washing, checks getting stolen. So if it's all right with you, I'll shoot Amy an email with some potential increases in that coverage. It's not very expensive, but we'll get you the information. I just won't change your policy without the authorization. And then we've got the computer funds and transfer fraud of $250,000. If someone dupes buildings is wiring money to pay for the new fire truck, the balance on the new fire truck, we use as an example, and that's a fraudulent link to forward that money electronically, and now you're out that money. We've got up to $250,000 to recoup those losses for you. Obviously, the risk management would be, in those cases, know who you're transferring the money to. If it's something you do on a regular basis, you pay your light bill online, you pay your whatever online, you're used to that link coming through or making that payment online. If it's something new, you may want to verify that that's the link that's where you're sending the money so you don't run into a problem. On the auto liability, we've got the $1 million of coverage for liability on the auto. Again, with the umbrella of $6 million, we have the ability to write up to $7 million on a loss. There is no aggregate under the auto liability. Insurance regulations won't let us cap the amount of liability coverage for each or total claims for auto liability in a year. So easy to say, you can have as many at-fault accidents as you like. We will pay for all of them on the liability, physical damage, property damage, bodily injury that you cause in a vehicle accident. If you have more than two, probably we're going to want to have a conversation with you, try and not have as many accidents, but there is no aggregate in the auto liability. All right. We've got the uninsured, underinsured for $1 million. If the accident is not your fault and the other driver doesn't carry insurance or enough insurance, Your uninsured, underinsured is coverage is up to $1 million. And then New York mutual aid of $1 million of coverage. I always ask every year just to make sure everybody's familiar with how the New York mutual aid liability works. When you call in mutual aid, you become responsible for their vehicles and their equipment. You're not responsible for how they operate their vehicle. So if they run a red light coming to your call and they hit someone, that liability, that the bodily injury and property damage they cause is not your responsibility. That's on them, but you'll be responsible for the damage to their vehicle. If they're operating at your scene and the building collapses and a wall collapses and damages their vehicle, that's going to be your responsibility to repair. All right? That's how New York mutual aid works. And of course, when you go on a call, then obviously they're covering your vehicles in the same way you're covering their vehicles when they come to your calls. All right? Under our auto policy, we also have primary auto liability for the members. So when they're using their personal vehicles for authorized department or district activity, our liability, our $1 million liability comes first if they were to get into an fault accident. Now they have a damaged vehicle in a non-emergency, this meeting tonight. God forbid somebody sideswipes Charlie's vehicle, knocks the mirror off, does some damage. In a non-emergency event, you would take that vehicle claim to your insurance and we would reimburse your deductible so there's no out-of-pocket expense to the member or commissioner. In an emergency response, then we're primary for the member's vehicle to the lesser of the cost to repair or the actual cash value. So we're not going to buy them a brand new Silverado pickup truck, but we fix the car they have. If it's a total loss, then we'll pay them the Kelly Blue Book for their vehicle. We'll also reimburse for towing if their vehicle has to be towed, and we have up to $40 a day for 30 days of rental reimbursement so they can rent a car to get back and forth to work until their car is repaired or they replace it. Okay? We've got your vehicles. You guys are doing a great job with your vehicle replacement. We have more. Probably this is one of the few policies I have where most of your vehicles are on guaranteed replacement cost, which means a lot of your vehicles are 5 years old, newer, or 5 years or newer. We're the only carrier that offers guaranteed replacement cost on vehicles. So we've got your 2021 Sutphen Ariel for just over $1.4 million of coverage. The 23 Ford Utility Police Interceptor for $57,260. The 23 Ford Explorer for $58,485. 24 Sutphen for $835,465. 24 Ford Plow Truck for $65,815, and the 24 Spartan for $966,905. Those vehicles are on guaranteed replacement cost. My guess is if you went to spec a brand new Spartan today to replace a catastrophic loss with the 2024 Spartan pumper, it's insured for $966,000. It's probably going to cost you a little over $1 million today, even though it's a year or two old. It's 2 years old. Under the guaranteed replacement cost, if that vehicle is totaled, and it's for us 75% of damage to an agreed value is considered a total loss. So if you were to do $725,000 of damage to that vehicle, we would replace that vehicle even if it cost more than the $966,000 to replace it. Essentially, you take that 2024 Spartan pumper and you say, we're going to replace it with another 2026 or 2027 Spartan pumper. Same thing, same spec, but now it's going to cost $1.2 million. Under the guaranteed replacement cost, we replace it for the actual cost it would to replace the $1.2 million. If you say we're not going to buy another big Class A pumper, we can get by with a mini pumper for $280,000, then we replace it for what you want, $280,000. If the damage is less than 75%, then it's not a total loss. We repair it and make you whole again with the repaired fire truck. And then when the vehicle becomes 6 years old, it goes from guaranteed replacement cost to agreed value cost, which is how your other vehicles are insured. And then the same 75% applies. But in that case, when it's agreed value, let's just say it's the older pumper who's insured for $500,000, the 94 HME. That's insured for agreed value coverage. If that gets totaled, 75% is $375,000. We pay you the $500,000 less your deductible of $1,000, claim 7. If the damage is less than 75%, then we repair it. We settle it for repair. Okay? I always take a few extra minutes to explain how the coverage works on the vehicles, because those, between the vehicles and damaged equipment, it's probably where we're seeing most of the claims, and I want to make sure you're comfortable with the coverage. And if there's any questions, please feel free to ask. We go over the values every year of the fire trucks, and you seem okay with the values. I think they're okay. There's nothing that really pops off the page at me as saying that's probably underinsured or overinsured. If we want to look at some options, we can certainly do that at any time. We don't have to wait until we know what to do. Okay?
The second supplement, would that be letter
Letter 1.
and that's gone?
And that's gone, so that one can be removed off the,
The 2021,
no,
No,
I have one aerial.
it's, the letter one's gone.
Oh, okay.
It's not on here.
yeah,
Okay.
The truck's on here, and then there's the two rescue pumpers.
Okay.
Old engine 11, we could probably reduce the value of that. What's it listed for?
right now, the old engine 11 is listed at 25.
It's what?
It's listed at 25.
25,000?
Yep, for the old engine 11, the old engine 21 is listed at 50. And the old Rescue 2, right now, currently, we have it listed at 75.
So do we
Those
want
are-
to reduce the values?
Those are your sale prices?
Yeah, those are asking.
I'm thinking, wait a second.
No, that's not what you meant.
No, but we can, if we're selling them for that, we
Right.
can probably reduce the coverage to that. I'll email you those tomorrow.
If, I will use the HME as the example. If that's out of service to be sold,
Right.
do you need $500,000 of coverage on it? We can reduce that down to what your sale price is. Because if I come to take it for a test drive and it gets wrecked,
Yep.
the insurance will either fix it or pay what you're looking for it on the sale, so you really lose nothing. I can work with Amy on that. She can email me the vehicles and we can get some lower values, and then when you sell them, we can take them off.
Yep.
All right, perfect. The accident health coverage, I know we can talk about it. The cancer policy, we can talk about. The group life, but again, I think those coverages, I'm more than happy, but I know you have a full agenda. I can stay here and go over them, but those are coverages probably best heard at a benefits meeting like we did the last couple of years, where we bring the membership in, because those benefits are more or less geared toward the firefighters and the active personnel. The accident health has a death benefit, so if there's a death as a result of covered injury, there's coverage for that for the family. Loss of income as an income replacement, along with in conjunction with your VFBL. So when a firefighter gets injured, we always talk about an annual salary. You know, this person makes X number of dollars per year. If you look at the benefits provided through VFBL for the volunteers and the accident health policy, we have the ability to replace lost wages up to almost $94,000 a year. So anybody making just under $94,000 a year on a fire department, fire district related injury, between VFBL and the supplement accident health policy, will be able to replace those lost gross wages for, I'm guessing, a large majority of your membership. And we revisited those benefits a few years ago and increased them because wages have gone up obviously pretty significantly over the years. So that's a very brief highlight of that. We've got the group life policy, $25,000 group life for when there's a member death for almost any reason. It doesn't have to be fire related. This member dies of natural causes, $25,000 death benefit. And we have you for the New York State required cancer policy. The district has opted to include exterior firefighters, which is over and above the required interior firefighter coverage. And the district has purchased the all cancer endorsement, which adds skin cancer to the policy for an additional benefit for the membership. Again, that's a brief highlight of the coverage. We focus a little bit more on the buildings and contents and liability. One last thing I forgot, your equipment, firefighting equipment. If you can walk away from the vehicle with it, it's portable equipment. If it's in storage, it's firefighting equipment. Coverage is guaranteed replacement cost, $250 deductible. If we can fix it, we'll fix it. If we can clean it, we'll clean it. If it can't be fixed, can't be cleaned, and recertified for its original use, we replace it at today's cost, less your deductible. It's really great coverage for your portable equipment. All righty? Very good. Thank you. I appreciate your time. Again, if there's any questions, I'm here. Give me a call, shoot me an email, whatever you need. Thank you.
Thanks, Tom.
All right.
So it's on the,
So do we still need a motion on that, or since there's going to be some changes, we really don't at this point?
what was that?
Do we need a motion on that,
To
or
approve the insurance renewal, yes.
even though there's going to be changes?
Well, we can, so right now, the quote is for $52,902. That's $606 more than what we paid last year. If we reduce the value on that apparatus, it's going to lower it slightly. What we can do is approve it pending those changes. I'll send those to Tony. He'll send me over new documents. The price will fluctuate a little bit, but it's not going to fluctuate. It may go down.
So as long as the prices go down, Tony.
It'll be going down. And Amy brought up a very good point. Last year, all of your policies, including your work comp and your VFBL, were somewhere around $147,796. This year, you're $123,619 before we make changes to the apparatus that you're going to be selling and reduce that. That represents about a $24,000 savings from the previous year. That is mainly because of your work comp and your VFBL. So combined, your insurance is doing very well in lowering your premium. And it's because we're not injuring firefighters. So keep up the good work in that respect. I wish I could say if the ESIP program was going, reducing premiums, but unfortunately, not yet. We're hoping soon, but not yet. All right? Thank you.
With that said, though, we are, so workers' compensation is based on payroll. Because we've fluctuated with part-time hours and adding staff, taking staff out, we actually like every 2 to 3 years, they do a payroll audit. So they go back and check the actual payroll versus because when we send the quote in, we're basing that on what we've budgeted. So they go back and do actual payroll. So we may see a savings, we may not. I think we'll probably, I suspect we'll see a savings only because we've budgeted for more hours, for more staffing than we did for a stretch. But that's going to fluctuate just because of our current staff model. But we'll probably get that back in the next few months, I would say.
Okay.
But we still saw savings. Even if we owe money, we'll still see savings.
Thank you.
All right. So pending adjustments to the policy, we have a motion to approve Tony's presentation. Mark? Second, Matt? Further discussion? Thanks, Tony.
See you guys. Thank you.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? So moved.
Am I okay to pay or okay to sign those policies when they come in so we can renew it?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Somebody has to sign the documents to send them back for the renewal. So is it okay for me to do that? Or would you? want Kit or Matt or somebody who's in the office.
Who's done it in the past? Who has done it in the past?
I've done it in the past. I think Kit's done it in the past.
I don't have a problem with
Yeah.
discussion. Gotta have it, yeah. And it's time-wise, I don't have a problem with any of it.
Okay. We'll give it to you, Amy. All right, approval of the January 21st meeting minutes. Michael?
I'll move to approve.
Okay, all in favor? Aye. Any opposition? So approved. Special meeting February 12th. We have a motion to approve. Kit, Mike, further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Bill, what have you got for us tonight?
Okay. Codes, we'll start again. One page. I don't have any codes bills tonight. $1,157 in the checking. $6,441 in the M&T savings. And $71,627 in New York class savings. That's slow month. We got 5 credit card vouchers tonight for the district and 40 regular district vouchers. Okay, front page. There's all the accounts. Now, I need to tell you a little, it's not a story, but I'm glad, excuse me. We have an awful lot of accounts. Even the manager at the M&T Bank, when goes in there and she sees that, she says, you have an awful lot of accounts. And I'm going to tell you, I transferred all of the money that came in. We got over $2 million. I made the transfers. And the thing they told me was, you're going to love this because the bank, it connects with your QuickBooks and you only have to do it once. I did it once in QuickBooks. February, we had a deficit. None of it went anywhere. It only goes from the bank to QuickBooks. It doesn't go the other way. So I had to go into the bank and make all those changes for all those accounts, when all that money came in, so much into the reserve, capital improvement, all those things. Got that done. Everybody know what happened? Now I get the statement. And all that went into QuickBooks. So QuickBooks now has two $100,000 payments, two $2 million transfers. So that was my nightmare. And so I applied for an extension with the state, and they gave it to me. I now have till April 30th to finish the state report, because all of those accounts, this is from 2025. This year's good. I have to go back in and find all those things and change it. So I'm telling you this because I don't know what the auditor's going to say. He's aware of it. I called him first thing. And he recommended, because he can't. The auditor can't help me if they're auditing the books. So he got me a person there that's a crackerjack with the reconcile, because when I go to reconcile, I've got a whole bunch of things. They're doubles.
Yeah.
And you got to be careful which one you delete. So just to let you know. So they fixed it. After this whoever this girl was, or lady, or whatever, at the auditor's, reconciled the whole entire year for 2025, every month. So that's good. It's just that in QuickBooks, it's not. Well, I have to laugh because that's a terrible thing. So just to let you know. Okay?
Thanks, Bill.
I don't know if you want to thank me yet, but listen, I don't know what the auditor's going to do when he's done, but just to warn you so you're not surprised. But I am learning QuickBooks very quickly now. Okay, that's it. On a side note, Eric, I would like to ask permission to attend a 2-day conference in Cortland. That's coming up March 27th, 28th. It's got a lot of treasurer stuff to do. It's about, I estimate $360 total for the registration. It's a 2-day conference.
All right, so do we have a motion to approve Bill to attend that? Mark? Matt? And any further discussion?
Thank you. Thank
All
you.
in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? So moved.
Okay, I told you about the extension. How did that pre-voucher sheet work out?
Look good, thank you.
That was good, okay. And tonight, what I did, well, we'll get to it in a second. I highlighted the new ones on tonight's voucher. And the format's changing a little bit here. I seem to have a better look with the landscaping on the voucher list. So you got a few more pages. So we'll start on the front page. And that is correct, the numbers. These are the bank numbers, not QuickBooks. Page 2 and 3 is the budget versus actual that you're used to seeing. Page 4, 1 and 4, that finishes it up. Page 5 is the service awards. We're still making money. It's up to $1,078,000. Page 6 of the referendum page. 7's the liability. We got one coming up in March, an interest payment. Page 8 is the banking page. Top is New York class. The bottom is the M&T Bank. And tonight's vouchers are the last 3 pages, 9, 10, 11, and 12. And if you look, open that up to 10 and 11, you'll see where I highlighted. Those are the new vouchers that you did. They wrote, has been on the sheet you got. You have it now, the one I sent to, what was it, Saturday? Friday or whatever. And that's it.
Questions for Bill? Got a motion to approve as presented? Skip? Mark? All in favor? Aye. Any opposition? Anyone not present? Thanks, Bill. Keep up the good work. Correspondence.
Matt, speeches, bank statements.
We didn't do the voucher.
You did? Is that a motion?
Yes,
Okay.
as was audited.
As audited, okay. And then we have a second on the voucher approval as audited. Mark? All in favor? Aye. Any opposition? Any abstentions? Okay. So moved.
So correspondence. Commissioners that are also members of the fire department are required to disclose their membership as a conflict of interest. Commissioners Laprise, Malone, and Harrison submitted letters last year, and those are still on file. Commissioner Speech has submitted his letter as a new commissioner this year. The Fire District Affairs was received and distributed with information on training. It's the Capital Area Fire Districts Association. This is the training that Bill spoke about. It's financial training for all fire district officers. It's a Friday and Saturday, March 27th and 28th at the Hub at McNeil & Company in Portland. They're going to be going over duties and responsibilities of fire district officers, government accounting, overview, policies and procedures, multi-year capital financial planning and budgeting, fraud prevention and detection, AFR and common filing errors, common OSC audit findings, and municipal accounting software, and then a Q&A with the OSC, which is Office of the State Comptroller Staff. And then the capital area also sent information about a conference. It's Thursday, April 9th through Saturday, April 11th in Lake George. They've got full day training Thursday, Friday, and then Saturday until looks like 11 a.m. And that covers a wide variety of topics as well. What else do we have? Then that's all I have for correspondence.
Thank you. Chief's report.
Ms. Crandall and Mr. McKinney have resigned due to conflicts with their full-time employment. And not a ton of communications. We're focusing on some internal stuff. And the only other thing I have on here is the officer in charge policy. We're going to answer any questions or clear up anything for that.
Any questions on the policy?
So this is just a temporary for now for us to review it and everything else, not to act on it tonight, because that's the first time we've seen this.
It was emailed a few weeks ago.
Yeah, a couple of weeks ago.
On the second page there, third line down, no PIP placement within past 12 months. I don't see a definition of PIP. I'm not sure what that is.
Performance improvement plan. We can get that added for, or spell it out. Whatever's easier for you.
Yeah, it was spelled out someplace earlier, and then there it was.
It wasn't. After, yeah, page 3, it's spelled out on page 3, but not before.
Yeah, usually it's before.
Usually you have the definitions at the front of the policy, so the way the policy process works, the outline that we were working with before.
We can change that one to mirror the one on page 3.
So we've gotten away from the way that the policies have been written and numbered before. Is there a reason why?
We can put it in whatever format you prefer. This was just to make it easier to manipulate and read in the short term. So once adopted, we can get it in whatever format you prefer.
Adopted in correct form.
What do we have?
For the lieutenants, you had some, for the lieutenants, you had certain requirements. Captains, you had like, you upgraded to like firefighter 2 and all. But now we don't do that. So it's all or nothing.
I think it can be modified, so if there's something that we don't feel is just, then we can just hold off and, whatever has to be modified on the plan.
So the qualifications for the acting officer, wouldn't that, I don't have my current officer qualifications for the volunteers. Do these all correspond and work with the volunteers also as the qualification for officers?
So the way this is written is you have, on page 1 is the career acting officer that manages the day-to-day operation.
Yep.
And then starting on page 2 under bullet 2, it covers volunteer duty shifts and acting officer and response. So the design of this is we acknowledge that there's some shortcomings based on not having any volunteer officers, specifically at Station 2.
Yep.
So we picked classes that were specifically operational, that were higher than the minimum for what an interior firefighter has, to be able to ride the right front seat going to calls and running a duty shift. But they're still lesser than the requirements to be a lieutenant.
So the qualifications on this sheet, you're saying are less than the normal
Yes.
for the volunteers?
Yes. Yeah,
So if a volunteer member wants to be an officer, we have to go by the current sheets that we have, because there's, for lieutenants, you have certain standards.
Yes.
Captains, you have to add more to it.
Yes.
So these classes here, this is pertaining to just for career staff, or is this also pertaining to career volunteers?
The volunteers as well. So if you look at on page 3,
Page 3, yep.
the bullets at the bottom, it's a combination of those. So for example, bullet 1 is firefighter 2, everybody goes home, and the fire officer 1 modules for its FISFAC, which is fireground strategies and tactics, or leadership and supervision, or you can pick one of those other paths. You have 4 paths to get to that, because we acknowledge that firefighter 2 isn't offered that often, but some people do have it.
Yep.
So we were trying to make it easier for everybody to try to achieve this. I understand that the fire officer qualifications, to be lieutenant, captain, and such, aren't as easily obtainable, but in the best interest of the organization and the taxpayers, having qualified people sitting in the right front seat to make decisions, these are the classes that we propose.
Are the career staff, do they have these classes, or do they need to take these classes, any of these classes?
The majority of our career staff has them. We either get them in the fire academy or they have them already.
Okay.
We're requiring for them that they have to have fire officer 1, which is higher than what the volunteers have to do, and fire instructor 1.
And the fire officer 1 modules, is that, you gotta have all 5?
No, sir. So you have to, so there's, for example, for bullet 2, You need two of them. You need the
The
old
leadership and supervision.
Yep, and the old strategies and tactics. They do that. The FISFACT is the old strategies and tactics. So if you've taken that previously, that would be honored by the chief's office as an equivalent to what that is.
Okay.
You don't need all five. You need all five within 18 months to get credentialed as by New York State as a Fire Officer 1. But just if you don't, those classes still exist and we still will be honored. So they're standalone certificates.
So such as like the instance we have down at Station 2, lack of officers down there.
Yes, sir.
Who is allowed to be sitting in that front right seat to make the calls?
So
If we don't have these qualifications, who's allowed to sit in that front right seat to make the call?
The way this is going to work is if once adopted, there'll be a warming period, I presume. We'll solicit for personnel that are interested in the position because not everybody wants to just because they have the qualifications. We'll review their qualifications and we'll make, I don't want to say appointments, but we'll make selections. And then the membership will be notified. The same would go for the career staff. They would get the same, hey, who meets these requirements, who's interested, because not everybody is. And then we would make selections, and then there'd be a notification, hey, these people are certified to be acting officers, both for the career side and for the volunteer side. If there's no acting officer on the career side, myself or the chief will select somebody for the shift. For the volunteer side, then unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, on the volunteer side, we've already gone through our elections and everything else, and we reviewed all the positions. And there weren't anybody eligible because of the new requirements.
Just one.
Who?
Andrew Toronto.
He's
This is acting, so it doesn't apply to the other thing unless it applies to the other thing.
Yeah, so anybody that has any of those combination of those classes on the last page, or on page 3.
We didn't have the minimum requirements needed for the body.
Correct, to be an officer, this is acting, so.
This is just if somebody wants to do a duty shift, or for when there's an emergency, if there's a call, there needs to be somebody that sits in the right front seat that has these requirements and has the approved acting officer endorsement from the chief's office.
Okay, then the other question would be is, what happens if we don't have an acting officer at either station? What happens with the rigs? Do we go or do we not go because we don't have the qualified operator sitting in that front right seat?
So I can speak specifically to Station 1. So the career staff, under the current response decision guide, when we're at 2, it's how we currently operate. If we were at 3, if that's approved at some point in the near future, this will come into play. If there's nobody that meets the requirements or has the current endorsement by the chief's office, Chief Gleason or myself will select somebody to fill that role and we assume the responsibility outside of negligence on their behalf.
Right, and because that happens recently. We don't have the fulfilled 2 people up here right now, 24/7. So now we are running out of Station 2 without a qualified officer.
So we're putting a lot of liability on the fire district by not having credentialed people sitting in the right front seat making decisions and ensuring safe response and safe operations.
So then it comes down to the fact of basically you're saying we can't really respond on calls if we don't have a qualified operator in that front right seat, unless a chief shows up on a call, or if I get a career staff, 2-person career staff, and whoever's the career staff, they're going to be overseeing that call, and we can't even guarantee that. So then if that's going to be the case of it, our engine or our response out of either station, if we don't have the qualified operator coming, the qualified officer coming, we can't respond because of liability. But is that right for the taxpayers? No.
I think it's better than crashing the $2 million ladder truck, sir.
It is better than crashing a $2 million ladder truck, but with the experience that we have had through this department and the accomplishments that we have through the officers through these doors, in the last 75 years, I haven't seen one officer make a bad judgment call where somebody didn't come home Nobody's ever gotten hurt. I understand about all the classes and everything else, but you're putting more and more burden on the volunteer end of it. And that is pushing my thoughts from a taxpayer situation is pretty soon you're going to push all the volunteers up because we can't respond because we don't have a qualified operator, insurance officer, sorry. And then you're going to end up saying, okay, well now we have to have a career department, full-time career. And that is going to take the taxpayers' money through the roof, which we can't afford that. I mean, what do other neighboring departments do if they don't have an officer sitting in their front right seat? Do they not go to calls? I can't answer that question because that's their policies. But for us, if we don't have an officer qualified to sit in that front right seat, you're saying for insurance policies purposes, we shouldn't be responding. I disagree with that.
Can I ask a question?
Yep.
Are the volunteers willing to go take these classes? A lot of these are pretty, a couple of them are 1 or 2 nights. The module series is no more than 6 nights per class.
I have, for my own personal, I have tried taking the Fire Officer 1 course. 5 modules. That was going to run me about 3 months at the time when I was taking it. And work-wise, I couldn't complete the system due to the fact of, one, I get out of class at 10 o'clock at night. I might have to get called into work at 2 o'clock in the morning. So the requirements that the state, it's not us, it's overall the state itself, what their requirements are making for officers and everything in this state. You can look through the media and everything else, how many departments are closing up. There's departments out there with over 100 years of service. The volunteers are all getting pushed out of their departments. It's tough to meet these requirements. I'm not saying I'm you. I'm saying it as a statewide. The requirements that they have pushed on the volunteers to stay active has gone way too much. And it is a tough thing to take these courses, and these courses are not always available at the right time and everything else. But that's my personal perspective on this.
Career staff officer, that's going to be managed with the schedule, correct? Correct. So my question was, the Station 1, the career officer, that's going to be managed with the schedule. So we're already going to know who's working and who's not. So we should always have an officer on duty, correct?
Right.
Like I said, if on a circumstance where there's 3 people working or 2 people working, the chief police and myself will select somebody to fill that role.
Right, and that's going to be, again, a hit and miss where recently we've had only one person working a shift, or we haven't had anybody filling a shift because of other commitments that they have. So that's going to put a damper on our response. Then when there's an empty shift, if our current officers aren't available that we have, then we need to change our box alarm system in order to get possibly a neighboring department with a chief officer to oversee our calls.
The thing that puzzles, bothers me is that you can have a full complement of interior firefighters that cannot respond because there is no officer, and potentially there may not be anybody here on the career side. So from a taxpayer standpoint, with a full staff of interior firefighters that can't respond to a call because they don't have an officer, I don't like that. I don't think that's wise. Yes, I can see that every time you dial 911 that the individual, whether it's fire, EMS, or police, that person, those people are trained in that, and it's expected. So it's expected of us to be trained in what we're doing. We are professionals, even though we're not paid, we're professionals. That's the only thing that I really have a slight issue with, is that potential is very real. As Mark stated, there's times when, last month, we had nobody on. You know, there was a couple times when we had 0 career people on. We've been running one hit and miss. To move to 3, supposedly will guarantee 2. There's nothing guaranteed. Like I just said, I really don't feel comfortable with that, having the potential of having whether it's 4, 6, or however many volunteers that are interior qualified, yet lack something in one of these qualifications to be an officer, can't respond.
The thing that's important to understand from the HJ standpoint is we're trying to get ourselves closer to what the expectation is from both the industry standard. I think we made some really big leaps and bounds with the personnel levels as far as the different requirements for lieutenants and captains and stuff, to include our interior firemen. This is closer to what, if something bad happens, that we can say, hey, we're doing as best we can based on the circumstances. Like you both pointed out, it's not getting any easier to be a volunteer. But these classes are obtainable and easy to get to. So we're just trying to get closer so that way we can reduce some of the liability, broaden some scope, and make us overall safer and more efficient.
I appreciate that part. Like we just had in the beginning of this session, our insurance man was just here, and we pay a pretty good penny for accidental mistakes that happen at a fire call. Accidents happen. That's why we have an insurance coverage policy that covers for those. Have we ever had to use it in the past? In the years that I've been here, I haven't seen it used once yet.
Our insurance?
For on-the-call, bad judgment call type of insurance. I mean, we do the best we can with what we have without going to a full-time paid career department. That's going to cost these taxpayers astronomical between insurance, retirement, salary. Everybody would love to have somebody 24/7, but financially it's just hard to do and hard to commit to for other people.
I'm confused. I get the point about going to full-time and having to pay for more, but the solution is get the volunteers to take the classes needed so they can meet these requirements. And the district actually pays right now for people to take the classes. And all around us, Northwest, Phoenix, Enterprise, Moyers Corners, they have a full slate of officers. I've worked with their officers, I've been in classes with their officers are qualified, their officers are taking these classes. They have a full slate of officers and they're working towards these goals. Liverpool, the same thing, all around us, they're doing the classes. And that right there, by doing those classes, getting reimbursed for those classes, will eliminate the need to have the paid staff officer. We can take that spot. And right now, we're working towards that. And I've just identified a second person in Station 2 that could very closely fill the role. It's like within a few hours of training them, that person's ready to go. So that's 2 of the 3. And that person's an EMT, which is even better. That's a great thing. The other solution too, before that happens, if there's a situation, report to Station 1 as a full crew. Just when the call comes in, just go to Station 1 and the crew's there until we can get the other piece figured out. That would allow us to have a full crew. The crew would go together on one unit. People will be working towards their training and get reimbursed for it. That would eliminate the need for the extra paid people getting here. And at the same time, all that right there would work us till we can get to the other solution, which would reduce your liability as commissioners. It's very close. It's not, like I said, it's not that hard to get there. And anybody's interested, we can get them closer to that. Literally, that's what we've been tracking the list. And I can tell you, I'm not in the training part of it, but I can tell you, you can look at the red check marks, and the people are getting it done. You've got a couple people that have really stepped up at Station 2 to get these things done. So, I mean, we should encourage that. And I guess I'm confused because I get there's 2 separate things here, which is qualifications and training, which is not the same as 3-person crew. We can't fill the trucks with cases. That's a whole other thing that is not part of this. But
it is part of it. It is part of it. because the whole thing boils down to the amount of career people that we have versus the potential of not having an officer on board, a volunteer officer on board. So it's all part of it. It's all plays hand in hand.
So if we could all come to one station, then we can solve this until we get to the bigger piece of this. You can turn left or right when you leave your
But
house.
if you're asking for everybody to come to one station, time is of the essence, and that's why we have our career staff here to get out quicker. So if I get crews from people from Station 2 coming into Station 1, the truck's gonna be halfway down the road before these guys even get up here, because we got traffic lights and everything else that we have to get through.
But as much as time is important, so are qualifications of the people that we send out to the community.
Yep.
So that's the other thing. We look at calls and we'll have people that are not qualified to do an EMS call. You'll have 5 drivers, not EMS people. We need the right people to the right spot. Not just send some people. The people, when they pick up that phone, they don't get to select and choose an option. They're looking for the best of the best to come. And the ability to get the qualifications done helps that process.
Well, also the people that are making that call, I would be more than welcome to open the door here for them and hand them an application and say, please come on in to help us offset the cost, the fact that we're losing numbers. But nobody's doing it. Nobody wants to because they don't have the time of all the requirements.
Let's stay on track here. Yes, today, he says, you gonna use that gavel a lot? We're gonna use it a lot tonight. We're gonna use it a lot.
Okay.
All right, stay on track. So anyways, we have had a lot of discussion on this potential new policy. Do we have a motion to approve it?
I have another question.
Go right ahead.
Can I do that? On page 2, volunteer response and duty shifts. All volunteer responses shall include an approved officer or acting officer assigned to either the driver's seat or the officer's seat of the responding apparatus. So does that mean that on an EMS call, if you have an EMT, but you don't have the acting officer or an approved officer, they can't go? How are you going to get the EMT to the scene?
So I can give you my personal opinion. I don't want to speak on behalf of the chief. If you have an EMS call and you have an EMT that's trained and you have a qualified operator to get the vehicle there, then yes, you should be able to respond. If you do not have a qualified EMT, then you shouldn't go unless you're going to assist the ambulance.
Right, but I'm assuming that you have the EMT, but you don't have the approved or acting officer.
For an EMS call, an EMT would meet the requirements for an EMS call.
That's not it. I mean, it would seem like it's important to get that EMT there. Looks like a lot of these requirements, a lot of them are fire related, more so than EMT related. And that's something that I keep churning over in my.
Okay. Hearing no motion, I guess we move on. I think this is a step in the right direction. Obviously, there's some things that have to be hammered out. It has to be defined well so that, as Kip just brought up, what is it?
Thank you.
All right. Ed, do you have anything on your own to report?
I'm good.
Chief Melchior, training update.
training. So right now, we've completed most of our mandatory, we have completed our mandatory training for in-person, and we have started working on our role-specific training for our scene support and interior, so we meet those qualifications. We're pretty much done with that also. And we are also working on our SCBA training, which is also semi-mandatory. The people that have shown up are completing their training. The people that have not gone to drills have not completed their training. So they've not been around to get it done. So other things that I'm working on besides that right now is a training calendar for the year. To get that out so we can continue with the periodicity on the training that we have from the district policies that we got to continue with. So the other thing I'm working on is SCBA. We've got a couple more people that need to finish up their fit tests and their training for SCBA to get that out and get squared away. We're waiting for a little bit more equipment to arrive in so we can get that squared away too. The other piece that I'm looking at, I've been tasked with, is online training for the department, for paid and for the volunteers. And that's included in the 100-hour training requirements that we have since we're a combination department. So I've contacted a couple online vendors that offer EMS/fire training, and I'm working with them to get prices and get that squared away. So for the next month, I can give you guys a report back on that. But it will allow everybody, volunteers and career staff, to sign into their accounts and work on their training, which kind of goes back to the other piece over here. With the one account, we can assign specialized or specific training for the department inside their training modules, and then also just generalized training that goes along with it too. So I'll get you a report back next month, because that mandatory training, that 100-hour training, is required by the state for the paid staff. So I'll get you information on that. EMS-wise, I understand we've got approval for Brian Police for his continued training, so we'll work on scheduling some of that. Get the EMS training going for this year, 2026. That's it. I've got any questions.
Any questions?
Do you have any thoughts on getting the people that don't have the training in to get their training?
I need them to come find me. I'm willing to train whenever I'm available now, often, but I need them to come to training. We had this discussion last Thursday night, same thing. The people that come, I can get you there. I can train with you, we can work with you. The people that aren't showing up to trainings, I don't know what the deal is.
Is it the same people?
Yes, so you can, obviously, if you pull up the response, people that are not coming to training pretty much are not coming to drills, not coming to calls, just not around, which increases the liability to the district and to the chief's office if those people decide to respond to a call and don't know what we're doing or what we've changed or what they're familiar with what's going on. They affect response time, they affect the whole idea of what we're trying to accomplish on the call. So, but we need to get them to us, but currently they're not around. So roughly 60 to 75% of people of the department are showing up, the other not right now.
Okay, any more questions, Tom? No. Thank you. CRR, Norm, what have you got for us tonight?
I brought the fire extinguisher prop, and after the meeting, I can show you, give you a little demo on how that works. Let's see, so smoke detector installs. We, in 2025, starting in November, we did 67 detectors at 10 different residences. Already, and actually this changed today, we're at 78 smoke detector installs at 13 residences right now, with one more to be installed on Friday and another one next Monday. So it's going really well. I met with the Radisson Community Association today with Lynn, and she's going to put a little write-up in their newsletter to kind of put that out there for people and see what else we can get out there. So I think it's going really well just by word of mouth. You know, somebody, last week we did 6 installs and several of them were the father called and then the son called. So we had, you know, kind of, we're working in families, you know, now. So that's gone really well. So we're going to continue to keep that going. We did 3 walkthroughs, Agrana Fruits, Giovanni Foods, and Fluid Power Sales. Gathered some information, talked to the owners, maintenance personnel, discussed some ideas of emergency incidents in those buildings, maybe how to keep us out of the clean areas if we don't need to be in the clean areas. Fluid Power was open to all kinds of suggestions, like coming in different doors to be able to handle an incident on the C side of the building instead of going through the front door. And so they're going to be lettering some doors so that, and then calling it in as this is where they'd want us to come into to handle an incident in that part of the building. So lots of good feedback, lots of communication back and forth. They're very happy with us coming in. Got a couple more scheduled for March. And all of this is to, you know, get that information and update our pre-plans. And we're also looking to find where those are going to live. You know, once we get all that information, it's great to have the information, but where is that information going to live so that people can get it when they need to? So, getting close to updating the curriculum for CPR. We're going to meet with the CPR instructors, get them updated into the American Heart Association's curriculum, and then get back on board with teaching classes in the community. Probably have a little bit more routine scheduled stuff. So a regularly scheduled class so that people can maybe start to get used to, you know, having that stuff available to them. Then I'm planning on going to the next department meeting to see if any donations that come out of doing smoke detector installs, if they specifically say smoke detector installs, could come back to the community risk reduction kind of line, and so that we can maybe start purchasing CO alarms or some other programs that we want to kind of pursue. I was talking to Chief Natoli today, and one of the things I think we're going to look into is car seat installation and inspections. So we're just going to see what else we can do to benefit the community. Other than that, we're just going to keep on moving.
Sounds good.
So who is doing the installs?
So the on-duty crew, whoever's around, often it's just the staff members, but today we had Graham was here, so Graham helped out with the installs, and Mike St. Andrew's been with us a few times, so they're all coming in and, you know, assisting, you know, carrying ladders, handing smoke detectors up to people and they're screwing them in. So right now I'm the spokesperson, so I fill out all the paperwork. I talk to the, you know, the homeowner and give them their, because we have a whole safety spiel. We talk, you know, about cooking safety, electrical safety, you know, if you have smokers in the house, you know, then they have some, the American Red Cross has winter weather safety, you know, talking about slips and falls, you know, what kind of things to be careful of. And then and they kind of do it at change of seasons. What's the next season? Flooding season. So so they talk about sump pumps, and we talk about, you know, not driving through puddles and things like that, that, you know, large bodies of water that are in front of you, and be careful. So right now it's going really well. I enjoy talking to people, if you haven't realized that I just like talking. But it's been a really good time meeting the residents. And so far, we've installed, because we did it today for Carol and Herb, we installed 4 smoke detectors in their house.
I can attest that he does like to talk.
And,
Sorry, Norman.
no, that's okay. Hold on. Yeah, Paul.
It was
And
nice.
we did some detectors in their house. So that's moving right along. It's just a process that we're going through, and my goal is to get smoke detectors into everybody's house.
You're not having any issues getting supplies and all that? through-
Oh gosh, no. I call the Red Cross. I tell them I want 48 smoke detectors, because they started out at 24.
Yep.
And I said, I can't get there. I'd be there like every couple of days.
Right.
And so we're doing, I get 48 at a time now, and they're very happy.
Now, do you date on the back of them when you install?
We haven't,
Okay.
but for me, I'm less concerned about that
As long as they've got them installed.
because I've got a database that tells me
Okay.
when I've installed them at whatever resident.
Yep.
But I have thought about that it might be a good idea because the homeowners might like to know.
Right.
You know, and then somebody that maybe buys a house might like to know when they are up or something. So we'll probably start carrying a Sharpie with us, and we'll start dating those.
Are they the 10-year?
10-year batteries. Yeah. But so there are some places that have hardwired smoke detectors. Originally, it was always required that you had to replace it with a hardwire, but that requirement has lessened, and so now you can replace a hardwired detector with a 10-year battery detector. And so there's a lot of people that have changed over to do that.
So roughly, how many homes don't have adequate supply of CO detectors in them?
We're finding that there's a fair amount of those. And that's why I think it would be really nice if we had the ability, because each resident that we go into, we have to furnish 3, which would roughly cost us somewhere in the neighborhood of $60 to $75. And sometimes they have them on the first floor, or they have it in the basement. They just don't have it on all floors. So maybe we'd only have to replace a couple, or do a couple of them. So I'm just trying to see how we can fund something without taking from us. I don't want to do that. I've thought about maybe reaching out to some of our businesses and asking them to assist us, not totally fund the program, but just assist us, give us $100. That buy us probably 4 detectors. And then we install whatever we get, we'll just do the next ones. So there's a few ideas that are floating around out there. We just haven't solidified anything to make it happen yet.
Very good. Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
All right, committee reports. Long-term planning. Matt?
All right. So Kip and I have been working with Eric quite a bit lately with the special tax zones. I think we're getting pretty close to that. Somewhere we're going to do something with that. Eric's always done a ton of work to get us to where we are on that. Talking more on that.
So we've identified all the potential parcels that met the requirements you gave me at last month's meeting. So just kind of back to you guys on if you want to. I did provide a document that kind of outlines some more justification on what we're trying to, why we should consider this. Just based on higher density, higher risk, higher potential for property loss, loss of life. And then some standards that kind of tie back to it, if it's 1730 or accreditation or 1710 and 1720. So I think we're pretty close. I don't know if you guys have any questions from the data I sent last month, or.
I know we've been working together trying to put together a presentation we can use when we get to that point, but we're getting closer. Huh?
I sent out an email the other day.
Yes.
And I really think that we should be moving on this.
Is this something that's gonna be like, other departments in the county have done this and they saw progress and?
Yes, so there's two, that I know of, there's two departments that are actively doing this. And there's a third that's in the process of working to establish this as well.
Perfect.
There's a fourth one that's asking the questions right now.
Nice.
So,
Going long term, this is going to help us with a lot of stuff.
Right.
Staffing apparatus.
Are you considering the houses that are long distance from the road, the ones that, like in Whitetail Woods, that have 3-4 stories, that are way down, that you're not going to be able to get anything to? Are you looking at those other properties that are the McMansions and those that have those long driveways that become an issue, more of an issue with trying to support because you can't get vehicles in there?
So we have looked at some of them. I know Commissioner Caprice has brought up a couple to myself. The big thing I need to ask you, the board, is when we establish these tax zones, we specifically have to tie something to it. So if we want to include those, that's fine, but we have to be prepared to identify what service capability that we're going to tie to it, which other than potentially buying another piece of fire apparatus that we don't need, that we can't currently get on the road. I don't know, so I'm not trying to be ignorant, and I'm open to any suggestions, but that's kind of where I'm kind of stumbled at. So just to be transparent.
Those are the ones at the $500,000 level that they set at the last meeting. A lot of those McMansions are those high-end ones.
Yes, ma'am. So we identified the commercial property, so that with it being residential, it doesn't meet the index because it's not high density or high risk.
But it is high risk when you look at the potential because of the size of it and the ability to get the vehicles into some of those places is significant. I mean, go down off of Doyle and some of the other places. There's some serious issues. Even right down here on Patchett, you've got a run up a hill that is pretty long to get up to the White House that's there, and you're not going to be easily be able to get vehicles in there. You've got a narrow driveway, and the hydrant might be close by, but not sure. So you're talking about higher risk in some of those areas. It's less people condensed, but it's still a high risk for serious damage and inability to complete the process of putting out a fire because the inability to get the vehicles in.
So I think there's one-offs that we pre-plan for, and we build standard operating procedures that are tailored to those that don't meet the requirement. Again, if the board wants to buy something or staff something, that's up to you guys. We can come up with.
Is that something we can do more research on, not necessarily include?
Correct. Yes. Yeah, we can always add. So we're working through the process on. Obviously, assessments go up every year. What happens next year? If we adopt this year, what happens next year if something crosses over that threshold? Do we have to do another public hearing? So we're working through what that looks like with the attorney. So I think if that's something that the board would like to pursue, I think we should move forward currently as we sit under the parameters that we established, and then reevaluate, because like I said, we have to tie something to it. So if we can identify, hey, we can tie this purchase or this type of activity, then yes, so we can circle back and we can do a special tax zone that includes those properties specifically. And they might not necessarily have to be taxed at the same rate. That's again up to the board on how they want to handle that.
That's really something that doesn't exist in the model now.
Correct.
There's no zone.
Correct.
So we went more to look at. So we met, myself, Chief Gleason, Commissioner Thompson met with a group to start looking at some building condition assessments for Station 1, Station 2, and headquarters. We're hoping to have something back from them by tonight. See how much I was going to cost to do that. They didn't get that to us in time. But basically what's that's gonna look like is they're gonna do an assessment for each building. They're gonna look at like the GIS response mapping data, apparatus staffing analysis. They also include a public education presentation. And this is going to help guide us. We're going to renovate or rebuild or build new spot within the district. But without that assessment, we really don't know. We want to throw money at something and hope that's where the best place to put the station is, or add on to this and not know what we're adding on for. So once we get that information from them, we'll be able to have an educated guess how we're going to move forward. One thing that is tied to this, and this is going to be for whoever we use, we do have to get all of our plans digitized, because none of them are now. They're all just rolled up and stuck in archives. So we did get some pricing from a place to do that for us. Just for Station 1, Station 2, and headquarters, they quote us $72.50 to get all that on a flash drive and named and categorized and all that. What I propose is to do up to $100, so we can include the tower in that too, because that wasn't included in the beginning. But if we're going to do it, we might as well get the tower.
We had two quotes. The other quote was like $400.
If you can get the same for a lot cheaper,
It's pretty much the same as that.
Right.
Work.
$100, I don't know, it's tough.
But that'll get all of our stuff digitized.
Okay.
Was it a motion for
Yes.
that, or what? Do we have a second on that? Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition?
So Matt, at a long-range planning meeting, I had suggested that someone needed to get a hold of the County Economic Development Organization, because with Micron coming in, and now it's a definite, headquarters is worth a lot of money. A lot more than you paid for it, a lot more than it's on the books for, and getting someone in to look at it physically, look and see what could we get for it. Because I can tell you right now, I'm thinking you guys can get like at least $8 million for that building, and that far exceeds what you paid for it. And no one has ever brought in the economic development people to look at that building and get a feel for what's going on, because they know what businesses are coming in here. And it's time to get somebody in and look at it. I was told, oh, wait till I get it empty. Well, that doesn't work. You've got to look at it now, because there's high potential right now with Micron in the business. And there are people looking for buildings, and that building could easily be gone from a property level. And you could easily replace it with something easily to cover what you need until you make other decisions.
We'll look at that.
Pardon?
We'll look at that. That's a good idea.
It's very important that you do it now. You can't sit on it anymore. It's something that has to be done.
We'll coordinate that with the study that we're going to.
Well, I think bringing the county economic development people in first, or as a secondary thing, needs to be done. Shut up.
You should. All right.
Can we go back to the special tax? Do you need anything from me on that?
So I think we got everything we need from control now.
Okay.
I'd like to go back to the tax zone. I think that we need to move forward on this. If we want to tweak things later on, next year, whatever. I mean, we can hang our hat on what the town is coding these properties at. We don't have to say, okay, if your driveway is 600 feet long, it's a problem for us, and if it's not wide enough, it's a problem for us. We can hang our hat on the town's coding of multiple family dwellings, and commercial dwellings, and apartment complexes. If we decide we want to add some, we can certainly do it next year, or, well, if we had a hearing in March and we decide to do it, we can have another public hearing in September because we want to add some to it. But I think we need to get moving on.
Is that a motion?
Yeah.
Okay.
So as long as you're asking, okay, so I wrote something.
Do we have a second on that motion before we open it up for discussion?
Yes.
Okay. Further discussion?
So,
Your turn.
okay, I'll just, this is a resolution, a proposed resolution resolution of the Board of Fire Commissioners of Belgium, authorizing the creation of multiple separate tax zones within the fire district for the primary purpose of funding the purchase, maintenance, and operation of specialized fire apparatus and related equipment, and supports staffing resources and specialized training of personnel necessary for the protection of multifamily residential properties, apartment complexes, and commercial structures within the tax zones. Now that would include all the things that Derek sent us, so it go. So I was careful to put in there, support staffing resources.
I picked up on that.
Yeah, because it's not just buying a new truck. Although,
Somebody to operate it.
yeah, and, you know, supporting or maintaining just the truck at Station 2. I mean, that thing, they cost now $2 million, and if they last 20 years, how much a year is that? It's a significant amount. So this is, that's a proposed resolution. And so we would need to set a date for a public hearing. I wonder if we couldn't have it before our March meeting, like at 6 o'clock. And have our meeting at 7.
It's the 16th. Yep. Would you have all the documentation and presentation and everything ready to go by then?
Sure.
Yeah.
We're pretty close.
Okay.
And I think that gives us plenty of time for the legal notices.
I can't remember how many days, I think so.
I wrote it down here somewhere. 15 to 20 days notice.
So that's,
Just enough.
Yes.
28 days.
If you don't think that's enough time, we could do it on the 23rd.
20 days from today is March 17th, or March 15th, so yeah.
So you're right on the date.
If it's 15 to 20 days, we have time.
So by the time she posted tomorrow,
It won't post tomorrow, because I can't get a legal notice in the paper tomorrow.
okay.
It would be Thursday.
I think we need to run it by the attorney first.
Um,
We need to run it by the attorney first, so maybe we're cutting it a little
That's too
close. We could go with the 23rd or the 30th. You available either of those days?
That'd give me more time.
I can do that.
So move it to the 23rd?
23rd works.
23rd.
Either one is okay with you?
23rd.
23rd?
What time?
6 o'clock with the commissioner meeting to follow.
And we're gonna move the commissioner's meeting to the 23rd also?
Well, the Commissioners is already the 16th.
Yeah, right. Okay.
Figured we'd do both at once, but okay.
Well, that's fine. I mean,
So March 23rd at 6 o'clock.
6 o'clock.
That's for just the hearing. 7 o'clock?
7 o'clock.
So I make the motion that we,
Well, there's a motion on the floor.
Yeah, you already made the motion.
So are you amending your motion? Amending your motion, not a
is
motion.
the motion this?
Yes.
Yes.
Well, your motion was to move forward. So I guess to clarify, is it to adopt the proposed resolution and
Right.
schedule the hearing?
Right, adopt the proposed resolution and hold the public hearing on the 23rd of March at 7 p.m.
7 or 6?
I thought we did 6, and are we moving the commissioners' name?
Well, that's if we had a commissioners meeting, but we don't have a commissioners.
No, right,
Yeah.
right. So what time would you like to do?
Let's do it at 6 p.m.
6. So you're thinking we're gonna move the commissioners meeting?
No, we'll leave it at the 16th,
Okay, all right.
Okay.
unless you guys want to move it to the...
No, no. There's nothing on my camera.
Okay, so I made that motion.
Did I think that seconded it?
Mhm.
Okay, and then we had further discussion, and all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? So moved. Thank you. What else have we got for long-range planning?
I think that's it. Kit and I are gonna talk about schedule a meeting
Okay.
soon,
Okay.
definitely in March.
All right, very good, thank you. New truck committee. Mark? any-
For new truck, everything's going well with 21 and no issues, so I think everything's running smooth.
And Mike's under public safety, so the next meeting is going to be March 17th. That'll be at Lakeside Fire Department, and that'll be at 7 p.m. Budget and finance, Kit, have you got anything? We just talked about the special tax zone. Anything else other than that?
I don't think so, that was what was on my,
Okay. And IT committee, Matt?
A couple things for IT. Our Power GMS renewal is due. Our range is between 100 and 124 users, that should take care of everybody.
Yeah, I got a quote for the next level down, which would be 90 to 99. We currently, with active members, career, and support, we're at 98. So I don't think we can move down to the next level. I think we're kind of stuck in 100 to 124 users. And that's $4,386.83 for the year.
So I can make a motion to do that.
Okay.
Regular.
So Rick made motion to renew that. Do we have a second? Mike, further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? So moved.
Next thing under IT is we do have 2 cameras that are currently not functioning. Down to Station 2. We did get a quote from IK Systems to replace those. It is okay, right? Okay.
I can, yeah.
For the 2 cameras, installation and the mounting for those, is one of them's starting to rot. So the mounting has to be replaced. The quote is $2,350.29, but I would propose up to $2,500 to replace those, just in case something is wrong behind there that they may have to replace wiring, whatever.
Okay, do we have a second on that?
That's not good.
All right. Up to $2,500. All in favor? Any further discussion first? Nope. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? So moved.
One other thing on IT, we did meet with a company called the GARM Group, just to kind of give us evaluate our service consolidation opportunities, talk about some cost comparison, quality of service. We could probably speak to that better because it's kind of parallel with our Sherwood.
Yeah, they sent me a bunch of information. They're very comparable to what we currently have, and it's not that I'm not dissatisfied with Usherwood, but I think we need to do our due diligence just to get some comparisons. They're actually going to come in tomorrow to look at all our equipment, look at our setup, look at our facilities, to give us a better idea on pricing. So I'm going to meet with them tomorrow to review even more. I did a little research. There's a couple people that I know that use them, so I might reach out just to get a feel for how responsive they are and what their service is like. That's huge for us to be up and working. So more to come with that.
Like Amy said, it's not that we're dissatisfied with Usherwood. I think it's time to look at other options to make sure that.
Yep. Compare, yep. Fair.
That's it.
Sounds good, thank you. Personnel kit.
John Lasko was hired and has started as a firefighter EMT staff. We have one recent resignation, and we'll be working on filling that.
I have a question for Kip. So we budgeted for 3 personnel when we budgeted last year. I know a lot of that was contingent on the OIC policy. I'd like to make a suggestion or a recommendation. I'd like to terminate the OIC policy at the middle of page, the second page. So from line 2 down. So we can come back and discuss all the volunteer, the concerns in regards to the volunteer. I think it's critical and crucial for the fire district and for the taxpayers that we get 3 personnel on duty. So I think we should consider adopting the first page and a half as written, or with any alterations you recommend, and approve going to 3 personnel around the clock as we're able to staff with our current career staff model. Based on the dialogue we had under the policy review, it seemed to be that it was from 2 down with the issue. Unless I'm misreading the group.
Does anyone want to make a motion on approving from item 1 on this? At this time?
I can fix the bullet where it says, where the PIP isn't spelled out. Obviously, the rest of the document will go away and we can come back to that.
Well, I'd make that motion.
We have a second?
So this will give us the flexibility to have that 3rd person and with an officer.
I believe you guys have to do that separately, but yes, that would give us the ability to.
And we couldn't have a 3rd person without this?
We could just provide some clear guidelines for them. We could informally, if you want it all in one document, we could informally manage that under very similar expectations. The goal of the chief's office is to best serve the taxpayers in the fire district. We stand by that. We budgeted for 3 personnel last year. We need to get to 3 personnel. So whatever we have to do to make that happen is what we're trying to accomplish.
I understand that we budgeted for 3 personnel, but the problem that I see from when we originally started this whole program was we promised the taxpayers originally 2 people, 12-hour shifts. Then we moved it up to 2 people, 24/7. We can't even fulfill the original of what we promised the taxpayers because we have 30 career staff available to us and we have plenty of open shifts. So even if we go to a 3rd person, you're not going to guarantee me 3 people on a truck or on an EMS call. We can't even guarantee 2 or 1. And I understand about statistics and everything else, but for us, roughly, I'd like to see our numbers of what we actually run for EMS, what we run for fire, what has our career staff, if they have beaten the ambulance to the calls. I'd like to see those numbers because if we went from originally 500 some odd calls before we adapted into the career staff, and then we've jumped over to 1,000 calls already in 2 years. 90% of our calls are EMS, roughly. So I'm going to be paying for 3 EMTs to be sitting on a squad to go to a medical call, where 2 of them can do the job, technically. If we have the 3rd person on there, yes, numbers are always great. If we run a lot of fire calls, if we run a lot of car accidents, 3 is better. More the merrier, absolutely. But we can't even fulfill the commitment that we made to the taxpayers with 2. And with most numbers, I'll go down to 85% to 90 is EMS. And I'm going to be having 3 EMTs going on a medical call for most of our calls. And they're also going now mutual aid to help other departments who are also having a hard time getting their numbers out, their people out. So they're not even staying here just for us. They're now also being utilized, going to other neighboring departments to help them out. And is that better for our taxpayers? No, because if they call 911, they expect to have a professional career staff, 3 people coming on that truck. But I can't guarantee that because unfortunately, the way how the system and everything works, they might be assisting other neighboring departments who are having the same issue that we originally had. So I can't justify having the 3 people right now yet until we can get 24/7, 2 people on shifts for a consistent amount of time. Because you want us to hire a 3rd one, but I can't even get you 2 or 1, or we have open shifts. And with the 30 people that we have right now, and just like we were saying earlier, the hard part is other people have commitments and all that. And their time is valuable to them too, even with our career staff. They might have another job, their main job's taking a lot of their time. Their family might be taking a lot of their time. And that's the whole part of this whole system. But I just can't justify the 3rd person on a shift yet until we can get 2 people 24/7 without any open shifts promised to our taxpayers that we've already budgeted for. And yes, did we budget for it? Yes, we did. Do we need them right at the moment? I can't justify that. But if we budgeted for it, then hopefully next year when we reevaluate our budget and all that, then we can look into possibly the 3rd person. But right now, the way the numbers are, with 85 to 90% of our calls EMS, I can't justify having 3 EMTs sitting on a squad coming to a medical call. 2 people, absolutely.
Can I ask you a question?
Yep.
Do you have insurance on your house?
Absolutely.
Do you have insurance on your phone?
Nope.
Do you have health insurance?
Yep.
Do you plan to use those?
Yeah. I do.
You plan to use the insurance on your house?
If I need to.
Okay. We're providing an insurance policy to our taxpayers.
But we're only providing it with only one person, maybe none.
What is stopping the volunteers from coming down and joining the one person or staffing the station? We're here to provide a service.
We are here to provide a service, but the
We've
service,
filled 95% of the shifts over the last quarter.
we've been having a lot of empty shifts. A lot of empty shifts.
We
And
can
they've been being filled
gladly
with,
argue the data if you like.
right,
but
and that's been filled with some of our volunteers that have come up to help offset that stuff.
So I guess we're here to provide the service. We're here to provide an insurance policy. I think that it's in your best interest as the authority having jurisdiction to execute your budgeted funds the way you intended them to.
Yes.
Just for information for you, so this is a class that we went to, actually Charlie and I went to this one, the rest of the story. 6% of 911 patients have time-sensitive needs. 94% don't have a clinical time-dependent issue, but they're still expecting rapid customer response. In 2020, there were 26,959,000 incident runs. Only 4% were fire-related. That's not this district, that's the United States. So we are not going to change. It's always going to be EMS no matter what. This is around the whole place. So of all the different things, we got a call. It's an EMS run. Of that, EMS is majority of the calls. Good 10 calls right behind it. I mean, it's EMS calls are what we're going on. And that's nationwide.
Right.
4% are only fire calls.
So
That's it.
with those numbers, do we need 3 EMTs for 90% of our EMS calls?
We're not staffing for 90%. We're not staffing for 90%. We're staffing for 10%.
Yes, 10 or 15%. I'd say, I look at any other department, they run 3 people or more. That's the standard, that's what's required out there. That's what's needed out there to be effective on the 4% call.
So for that extra 15%, are they going to stay here in our district? Or are they going to be going mutual aid to other districts?
All I can say is
I'll accept that. So Commissioner Harrison, I don't have a crystal ball, sir.
No.
But it's no different than for the last 75 years you brought up earlier that we rely on our neighbors.
Yep.
So I can tell you that our neighbors come to us and we go to our neighbors. That's the system. Mm-hmm. I can't guarantee you that they won't go.
Right.
But I can't guarantee you that there won't be lives lost.
Mm-hmm.
So nobody has a crystal ball in this room.
Nope.
But we're just trying to do what's best based on what we do know. And we do know that we budgeted, and it's statistically better to have 3 personnel. And we're a fire department.
Mm-hmm.
So regardless, we could get rid of all the EMS calls. We are still a fire department, still have a service to provide. So you still have to put 3 people on a fire truck or 2 people on a fire truck to go on the fire call.
So national standards, going into a burning building. This is going against 3 that you want, 2 in, 2 out. So even with 3, I don't have enough people to send into a burning building.
If you gladly like to go to 4 health energy.
I'm just saying the fact.
That's not true. So if there's a known life hazard, a potential life hazard, we can override the 2 in, 2 out rule.
That's correct.
We're also relying on chief officers and mutual aid coming as well. So again, I agree. 3 is better than 2.
Right.
4 is better than 3.
That's where I was
mean, we
going.
could get to the fact that we could say 6 people is what we want.
Right. And that's where I was going with the fact of pretty soon it's going to be a career department with the tax increase on these taxpayers already burdened out as it is on some of them. But
I would disagree. I would disagree on that, but
You disagree with that?
I do.
Well, I'll make a comment. I was down to the town of Lysander today, and I heard a lot of people have been bitching about their fire tax. That's all I'm going to say.
Maybe they should look at their education tax first.
I'm just repeating what I heard from the town clerk. People are asking, why is Belgium Cold Springs fire tax the last 5 years, 6 years going up? That's all. Just relaying a message.
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor, we have a second on the floor.
Who seconded it?
Who seconded it?
To increase. Well, I would just say, every time we can put 3 in a crew is a win.
It is.
And arguing that we can't do it every time, I don't think is valid. Every time we can have 3 is a win.
Correct, agreed. But I think what's been said is that historically there's been, out of 2, there's been 1 or none. And that seems to be the problem, is that is 3 going to get us 1 or 2 or 3? All right, so we have no motions. Does anybody want to make a motion for anything?
So where are we? We have a motion to change the OIC to only the career staff. Is that?
Yeah.
So we don't have a motion to increase the staffing to 3, but we have the motion to approve the OIC and staffing policy for the career staff. So who made that motion? Did I make
I think you did.
I did? Okay, I made that motion.
Did somebody second that, Amy?
I didn't have a second.
Okay. Do we have a second on that?
I'll second the motion.
Mike? All right. Do we have any further discussion on that? Okay. Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposition? And abstention? So those moved. Thank you.
So then, the next thing is, I'll make the motion that we move to 3 personnel, 3 paid personnel per shift as proposed by the chief.
Okay. Do we have a second on that? Matt? Further discussion?
Do we want to monitor it for 3 months and see how it goes? Okay, for May?
Well, we can stop it anytime we want to. I don't know whether that would need to be in the motion, but we
Okay.
could put it in there.
Statistically, statistics for that.
Let's put it on 3-month trial or
2
something?
months out.
It's budgeted for us on next.
Pardon me?
It's budgeted for us next.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
we have the money for it, so why not give it a try?
Right, we've got that, but the key is are we going to get the people here? Are we going to have people here? Yes, we budgeted for it, we've done our due diligence, we need to make sure that we do have people here for.
You need to increase from 30 to 40 or 50 on staff available.
Well, then we have to look at the budget. Now we have to buy 10 sets of new gear, new mask at $2,000 a piece.
Yep. And
So it's not just personnel.
I know.
So first off, the masks are $2,000 a piece.
The mask and the regulator.
Okay, so masks now $2,000 a piece.
Well, that's what we were quoted when,
That's my, that was the MMRs.
The MMRs are,
okay.
But it's the gear, it's,
So I guess, like, can I ask an ignorant question?
can
Would
you
you like to say
yes.
something? Ma'am, do you have something you'd like to say?
I'm just asking if they
So-
feel they need to go to 40 or 50 people
So,
on staff
I don't
available.
disagree with you. I guess my question is, if you had 20 people drop applications today to be volunteers here, would you say no? If we had to buy them turnout gear, would you say no? I'm asking. Like, if you had 40 people say, I want to be members, and we didn't have turnout gear for them, would we find the money to get them turnout gear?
Yes, we would.
Is there a difference if we identify that we need to go from 30 to 40 or 40?
Sorry.
Excuse me, Bill. If we had to go to 40 or 50 career staff, then so be it. It means that the volunteers aren't coming. We're not pushing the volunteers away.
That's what it sounds like.
I don't understand how it sounds like that, man.
May I say one thing? You listen to the rescue calls that we get. Squad 1 will call out, they'll get on the scene, a minute later, they're clear. They're not needed.
So that's an operation?
So I cannot justify 3 people on a rescue call when they're only there, they don't even do anything.
So I can tell you that we've inherited some box alarms from the previous fire chief. So we need to make some adjustments there. The chief and I have already identified that. We could definitely scale back that. So I don't disagree with that.
If we're going to be scaling back, then why the 3? If we're going to start scaling back on EMS, why the 3?
Because it's an insurance policy, sir.
Okay.
Let's see I'll get myself in trouble.
Where were we?
We got a
I
vote.
get lost.
Oh, okay. What are we voting on?
Moving to 3.
Okay,
So Kit made the motion, Matt seconded the motion.
all right. All in favor of moving to 3?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Mark?
Any abstentions? Any against? There you go. Okay. So moved. All right. Truck maintenance, anything?
Yep. Couple of things. Status on the gator repair.
It's going, I'm gonna give her a call this week, it's on my list, I got 6 things from the chief to work on. That's one of the 6.
Because I've I didn't contact, they contacted me for work-related stuff down in Lafayette, the old Casanova equipment. And when I spoke to them, they said that we could, when we bring it down to them, they'll put us as a priority because it's a fire-related.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
that. Status on the Knox box for engine 21. Knox box keys, because they haven't been put in service yet.
Our key has.
We're still waiting on the other Northwest key for that.
I mean, that's between Northwest.
No, I thought we already had an agreement and.
We do, they just have to provide the key.
Okay.
We can't, it has to be provided by them. So.
Right, provided by Northwest, okay.
I want to put, the box still is usable with just the Belgian key.
Okay. Engine 11 repair, it went out for a week. What was the outcome? What did they find?
U-joints, I believe, in the drive shaft.
Oh, drive shaft had an issue.
I don't have it in front of me, but that's what the tech told me.
Okay. And then I saw an email regarding some maintenance at headquarters on a door.
The front door controller that doesn't work.
Closure.
It slams
I thought they
every
already
time.
fixed that.
No, it took forever.
Oh, I thought that was already repaired.
No.
Okay.
The part was on back order. We just got it working enough. that we
Temporary
could
just to use it? Okay,
But it
that's what
slams every time.
Okay.
It's fun.
Yeah,
So
okay.
Thursday.
All right. And then the other thing that I have now is our used apparatus. We might want to reconsider the asking value. I have had some correspondence from Fire Tech for Rescue 2. We've had one in February 17th. He looked at it, has not made any other calls or contacts on that, so that's the status on Rescue 2. The old engine 21, I had a person of interest contact one of our suppliers, and they said that they had a $30,000 budget for shipping and everything else because it was going to go to Guatemala. So my question to the vendor was, what are they willing to pay for the truck? He would not give me an answer. The only answer, he said, they have a $40,000 to spend. But again, he didn't provide me with an answer of what they were willing to sell or buy the truck for. So that was on 21. Another correspondence through a different vendor. This is on the American of France. The problem that she says is they don't like the make or the color. But if they don't call her, she can't find out what other objectives that they have on the American of France. And also, she recommended maybe reducing it from 50,000 to 44,900 or 39,000 for the American of France. And then on another vendor, I had a correspondence of an offer for the old American of France. This one was on February 6th, and I told them I would get back to them. Their price offer to me was $25,000. That's a $25,000 cut. And I told him that I would get back to him, and he never responded back to me or anything else through that correspondence. Yeah. So those were the recent correspondence of what we had on the used apparatus. Do we look at reevaluating engine 21, the old American of France, at 50,000 right now? And it's been out there for over a year and a half. It's up to.
What did that one vendor recommend?
That was through a very reputable vendor, and her suggestion was 44,900 and then take it down to 39. So I said, well, let me bring this back to the committee, see what they want to do.
Point can't hurt.
No.
Yeah.
So you'd like to lower it down to 39? Or where would you like, or at least take it down to 40? Then I would contact all the other vendors.
42?
Yeah.
42?
All right, so send it down.
That's 11.
Yeah, no, the old engine 21, the American of France.
So what's the new value?
42,000.
42,000. All right, so I will call the other vendors
If we're
tomorrow.
reducing these, is that what you want me to reduce them to on the insurance?
Yes.
Yeah, because if I have a test drive with it, the vendor comes in and wants to take it for a test drive. Okay.
How about engine 11? Where are we going with that?
Engine 11 so far is at 25. I haven't had really any bids on that at all, any communication. But that one's just only been up there, what, 6-7 months?
Keep that the same for a little bit.
So we'll keep that one the same? Okay.
Rescue 2?
Rescue 2 is at 75. Is there a way that maybe, I don't know how we could do this, but maybe put it on some type of a construction type auction site or website? I'd have to look into that because that would make a perfect contractor truck, which we might have more offers.
Yeah, Auctions International was a recommendation we got from a local, just based on the fact that there's no values fire trucks.
Right.
They can be parted out for, over the road.
So now with Auction International, we can set a... No.
Not when it's listed. But
Right.
if you guys have a minimum that you have in mind,
Yeah.
if it goes to auction, you want to get 50,000.
Yeah.
Somebody comes back and the auction closes, it's at 40. You can deny that bid, but counter offer to 50. If you counter and they don't accept it, then it doesn't go anywhere.
Okay. So
But we can't, when we list it, we cannot set a minimum.
Okay, all right.
There's also still a reserve, and there's also going to be a auction fee.
Right.
We don't pay for auctions. We don't pay anything for Auctions International, and we cannot set a reserve. And all that's done on the back end. So when it is listed, there's no reserve amount.
Okay, so
But we don't pay, the buyer pays.
Right.
So it costs us nothing.
do we want to move forward and having
Yeah, let's put
all the
Rescue 2.
equipment or just Rescue 2?
I think there's a market for the for them on there.
On the rescue, absolutely.
I think on all of them, because the problem is that other than going to a rural country,
Yep.
most departments aren't going to buy.
15, 20-year-old.
Yeah, somebody might buy it for the motor, the transmission, or
Right,
rear end.
right. And that's what they're saying is, the American France body parts you just can't get. So if somebody damages the truck, pretty much they just bought a truck that's gonna sit in their garage and can't get parts for it. Mechanically, you can get the parts, but just body-wise, you can't.
All right.
So you wanna move forward with Auction International for Rescue 2?
Yep.
Okay.
And we'll see what happens in the next month. Maybe we'll put the rest of the stuff there also.
Okay. Working. That one.
All right, building maintenance, Mark, anything?
Building maintenance, we're still working with, I haven't heard much yet for the plumbing from the hills and all that for heating at Station 2. We haven't heard anything on that lately.
They were here today and doing maintenance on the boilers.
Okay. And then we did get headquarters up and running, that other unit. They found some issues with that, some minor stuff, but that's up and running for the back room. And of course, the ice leaks that we're gonna address that in the spring.
Has
That's all I
anybody
got.
ever looked at putting the electric wiring up on there to melt the ice?
I don't think we've ever looked at doing that.
Because that's where the water leak came from or comes from. It's just the ice buildup. You get an ice dam and then the water just comes in underneath. So, thought I'd ask on that. All right. Anything else on building maintenance?
No, so just to recap, back on the apparatus, we're dropping engine 21, old engine 21, 42,000.
Correct.
Perfect, I will make those calls tomorrow, or emails tomorrow. And then we're gonna look into Auction International for Rescue 2.
Okay.
Perfect.
All right. Looks like old business. Policy review. I've had so much input on it that I'm just going through the papers and everything and the emails and everybody's idea of how to improve it, that I don't have anything at this point. So again, if you have some additional input that you'd like to add to it, please, by all means, let me know, and we'll move ahead with that. New business?
I had the mandatory training policy that I
Okay.
sent. Because now New York State requires cybersecurity for training. And we had department active, non-responding members. That level doesn't exist. So I changed it to department life members that are non-responding and added the cybersecurity. It's really the only updates in this. Everything else is the same as it was prior to that.
Do we have to, on page 1 there, where this policy applies to active members, active non-responding members, switch that over to
Oh, life
members?
non-responding?
Yeah. Branch, department support members and you.
And that.
So that's just. Okay, do we have a motion to approve this? Matt? Or Matt? Kit? Who seconds it?
Second, okay.
Mike does? All right. Any further discussion on this? Nope. All in favor? Aye. Any opposition? All right. So moved. Man, bless you.
I'm allergic to Mark.
That's gotta be what it is. Old business, went over that, new business. What else? Any more new business? What about public comments? Okay. Yes, sir.
Real quick, there's no real agenda on here for retention. So I was just curious, last month I know some of the commissioners went to a breakfast and there was a lot of talk about retention. Have you guys had a chance to review the 14 points from FASNY? Do you agree with them, not agree with them? Do you have some other ideas what could be done for retention of members? Are we discussing and are we have anything on the books to start working on?
I haven't really talked about it yet. We should.
And, the 14 points are good, but I'd like to see a couple more points in there for retention. It's going to be an uphill battle to try to get additional stipends or whatever, and the alternative method of EMS, or not, fire and EMS response. Yeah, we certainly talk about it.
All right, so I know we went the year before and the same discussion was had, and it's a year later, and then the one guy said he's been there 17 years and it's been the same discussion. One of the points they brought up was the fact that possible the district fire tax. In some places, they've eliminated that for active volunteers. Are we exploring that?
I'll leave that again.
There was discussion that one of the places they actually are, if you're an active volunteer, you don't have to pay your taxes for your district, fire tax.
Yeah.
That's one of the incentives if you're an active member. So I'm just curious, did we catch who was doing that and how to get a hold of that person and find out the details?
Well, they're all wonderful things. All wonderful, but you have to face the fact that the legislative process in New York State, I hesitate to say, but it's almost broken. Mm-hmm. It's like in the United States, same thing. The legislative process is a problem. And it took how many years to get EMS cost recovery? I don't know, 7, 8, 9 years to get that. You can't get these things without fighting for them. So you gotta fight for them. But it's a real problem. Some of it is, we can do all we can grassroots, and we can support those programs. But we're limited.
So let me ask you this. Do you think that by eliminating a property tax for the fire departments on an active member, do you think that's going to retain more people? Do you think that's a good incentive to go and do the additional training so that we have the qualifications for an officer position? Do you think that's going to help, or is that just too little too late?
I think all the different things we can put to people for the department, one of these things might catch and work for certain people. It may not be effective for some, but right now, I don't know, we discussed before, I don't know really the department and or the district's working on for retention. And we just talked about if we had 20 new members come in, we'd have to find a way to get them gear and put them to work, but what's there to retain the people? Again, like I said, they've talked about at that meeting, and there are 14 different things. Are we going to push for any of them, or can we apply something else? You said a couple more things. What are those couple things? Can they be done at this district level? Just curious.
They cannot be done without enabling legislation.
So what else can we do for as we talked about it, the volunteers that are too busy, they can't make the trainings, they can't get the requirements, they can't make their calls. This whole meeting, this whole night's been talking about that very sore subject. A lot of people's feelings are hurt because they used to be able to do what they can't do anymore. And it's not the district, it's not the department, it's literally the way things are in life nowadays that require the volunteer to give up time that they don't have anymore, that they used to have. And that's the fact. It went back all through all the discussions we had before about that. And those presentations talked about that. So I'm just curious, we went to the meeting. Remember the one guy there said, hey, I don't want to come back next year and be in the same spot again. So we are now 6 weeks past that meeting. I offer to the district commissioners, the department would love to have a workshop with you guys and sit there and just talk. You guys interested in coming to a workshop and talking with us? Sit down, some donuts or food or whatever, and come up with something we can tell our department members we're working on. At least give them something. If it goes all in the legislation and it fails, at least we gave it our best effort. But right now, we have nothing that we're working on. I should say that. The district offered the stipends, that is correct. And I will tell you, I said, I don't know if the stipends are effective. I would think that would be a good thing to have right now, is to tell us how well those stipends are going. I can tell you that I looked through the information that I had last year, and of the 14 interior firefighters on this list, only 3 took state classes last year. So if your stipends are helping, that if we get 5 or 6 this year, that tells me the stipends are helping. That'd be a good thing. But last year, 3 took state classes, and yet there's lots of classes that are required to be taken according to the state and according to the district, and according if you want to make some extra money. So, but you guys want to hold a workshop and try to figure some stuff out, so no decisions to be made, but at least a plan going forward to lead the department, to lead the district, to show we're trying to get there. Because we're going to come back every month, we're going to have the same discussions. We don't have time to do training. We need training. Training is required for liability. Liability is important. Why do we have this? We're running the firefighters out of here. We're going to go back and forth again and again. What are we going to do to actually have a solution as a group working going forward?
So I'm in favor of the meeting. How many people do you think will attend?
If the meeting's effective, more people will attend. If it's another 2-hour, woe is us, here's how it is, we can't fix it, not going to work. If we leave that meeting with at least a solution or at least a path going forward, we may attract more people. But if we don't do anything, we're going to keep having these meetings where we're just here for 2 or 3 hours. We talk about the same stuff again and again. We need this, we don't need this, we're trying. It's just, like I said, it's not going to, whatever happens on the paid side of the department is not affecting how many volunteers are coming or not coming. The volunteers are not coming for other reasons than the paid staff are here. They're not coming because they have life, they have things, they have commitments. It's just the way it is.
So how do we bring in additional people then? If the volunteers have life going on already, how do we increase? You're talking retention. How do we recruit them?
So
it goes hand in hand, and yet the key is retention.
So we went to a training this last week, and the training we got this last week told us that we are marketing to the wrong people. We need to be marketing to the high school level and before the high school level. We have good examples in this department where we brought people in that have become EMTs and have done from no EMT to an EMT to I'm sitting next to a registered nurse right now. We have other EMTs that have gone on, they're actually providing for their families right now. We have success stories of EMTs that have done that, where you can take a few months of your life and actually go make some money. We have examples of that, so we're marketing to the wrong people. We need to go back into the young group of people and bring them in. It may not be the dual income family and that kind of stuff that we're trying to bring in. Maybe someone else beside that. That's where we maybe need to look. That's what we were told this weekend on our training we went to. A good spot. Again, the other thing I'd ask too is we said here at this meeting tonight, well, what are the other surrounding departments doing about their training, about their officer requirements, and about their things? We have that information. We've gone and got it. We are blessed to have a person that works dual department. We have another one. Warriors Corners to our east, theirs to the west. We can go get Spottle to the north of us. We'll find that information of what they're doing for their officers and their requirements. I think it would be good to know that so we can make that decision that it's, based on what's going on around us and other places.
So I disagree with what he said with high school. I disagree with that. I think that grade school, when we do fire prevention at the kindergarten on up, we're volunteers. People don't understand volunteering anymore. People have other priorities. If you start instilling into it when they're young, they'll take it on. And I think that's a key thing right there is hey, we're volunteers, you can do this when you get older. You can ride the big red truck and wear the fancy hat and this, that, and the other thing. And I think that's part of it is you look at society, you look at people that volunteer in any organization that there is, there's a handful of people. There's just a handful of people. That's where it's at. So again, we need to push other people into, hey, we need your help. We need to volunteer. I've said this before, that I've read things over at headquarters a couple years ago, picked up something on one of the tables, and it said exactly what we're saying here tonight. It was written 10 years ago. I picked up something else. It said the exact same thing. We've got limited number of people responding. We're losing this, that, and the other thing. It was written 15, 18 years ago now. It was like, holy mackerel, this could have been written this morning and set on the table. So I think where we are going at, we have become proactive. We've acknowledged that we don't have people stepping up. We've hired people. We have part-time staff that started off from half a day to a full day. We're increasing it from 2 to 3. Are most of the calls medical? Absolutely. But still, we've met that need. We are being responsible to our taxpayers. We're doing what we're supposed to be doing, and that is to provide a service to the people. So yes, we're still struggling. We're still trying to get people in on the volunteer side. We're always going to try to do that. Do we have success? A little bit. You get a couple people in, and you lose one of them. So we're kind of right there. We've got a couple great people right now that are new, that are gung-ho, and that's a good thing. So, and again, we need to steer them in the right direction. We need to say, hey, you can make X amount of dollars if you take this class. Hey, this is a good career path for you down the road. You want to be an EMT? We'll teach you how. We'll pay for your EMT training. You can be an EMT, and then maybe you can get a full-time job doing this also. I think that's where we need to work on our people. We've got people that fill that need right now, potentially. So there's no answer.
If you get buy-in from the department and they want to sit down, certainly we'll sit down.
How about this Sunday? I don't have the other weekends. Literally, my next 3 or 4 weekends are nonstop training. I will go to training every single weekend because that's what I do.
I could come Sunday. I'm out of town all next week, but I could come Sunday.
No decisions, just figure out, let's give a couple things we're going to go work on. Talk to, it's like I said, align the department and the district, showing we're trying to go the right way. Come up with a couple things, like I said, we can get done, or working towards, or at least have an idea.
But a lot of those 14 points, we're already doing.
I know.
We're already doing the
very
tax credit. We're already doing the property tax credit.
So
we're already doing those things.
Maybe we take those 14 points and actually say how Belgium is accomplishing those 14 points and make sure that people in our department know that. Because I don't think they know what the 14 points are, and they don't think they know how we're effectively doing this. We say, hey, we looked at this, we're doing, hey, this is something we're going to work towards, whatever it is. But we can say, we see something and we're trying to get there. Aligning the district and the department leadership, I think, will be very important. And say, hey, we think these things are important. You, the volunteer, are important. This is how we think you're important.
What time is your meeting?
I'm up at 5 in the morning, so you guys pick after that.
I'd rather not come at 5 in the morning.
How about, let's say like 11 o'clock so we can talk for a little bit, then have some food, and then we're happy. We can get out of here. 11 o'clock on Sunday. Anybody?
Okay.
Bring your ideas and bring your solutions. Don't just come here with I'm here to listen. I need you guys to tell me what your solutions are to the problem you think exists.
Like what? Any more public comments?
Can I just add, the issues of United Concern are posted in dispatch here. I have not yet posted them at Station 2. There's also the QR code that I think you guys put up at the department meeting. That QR code, when you scan it in, goes to the president of every state association, state chief, state district, SPASNY, and I believe it's promoting them all working together to fight for that legislation, to get it through, because there's some disconnects right now. They're not all on the same page. So keep spamming it. It goes to president of every organization for them to say, we want this, we want to work together, we want stipends, we want this, tax breaks, we want whatever. I think it gives you a space to comment. So that is there. And the district's done the stipends, but we also have a $25,000 wellness grant that I think we're just getting the paperwork to finalize that. Hopefully, we will get that funding soon where we can start putting programs in place that take care of our people, that will be retention.
And that's what I'm saying, that's the kind of things we need to say, hey, this is available to you if you want it.
I'm kind of afraid that the state's gonna be like, no. So until we have the money, I'm nervous about it, but
You can tell
we
them,
finally got an email from the state today.
will you be willing to tell that on Sunday, 11 o'clock?
Maybe, maybe not, I don't know. I don't know what we.
Coffee involved?
Huh?
Coffee will be there.
Yeah. Well, there's coffee everywhere, but. Huh? Yeah, I don't know what our plans are.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, any more public comments?
On the vouchers, my name is there twice, once for 3:30 and once for 40. Those two training sessions actually overlap on the same days, so if you want to go ahead and cancel the 40 for the EMS seminar, I'm okay with that, because I can't be in the two places at one time.
I'm sure you can. I do it. Holy Jesus for that.
You do. And I'm a boy. Okay. Kip makes a motion for
I
executive.
have something.
What have you got?
I see that we're getting the new cameras, which I'm amazed that we haven't had to get new ones since 2018 when you first put them in. My concern is, has anyone done a review of the system, look at the logs that are supposedly supposed to be kept every time someone accesses the system, and look to make sure that the 30 days is all that the data is being stored, which is the policy. And that was the policy back when I was a member, and I have a copy of the policy sitting at home, and I read it, and it's 30 days. And considering the fact that myself and my husband have been attacked for data that was past 30 days, that review needs to take place, and it needs to be done by an independent person. You need to look for somebody to do it. You have somebody in-house as a member who could do it, who has security background, who should be looking at it from an independent viewpoint in order to really look at it. And at this point in time, somebody needs to look at it. I mean, 30 days is what the server should say. There should only be certain people who should have access. I have a funny feeling that that's wrong, and that needs to be looked at. So I am putting forth to you that you need to look at that whole situation. The other thing I would say to you is that a year ago I sat here and asked the question about the website. You're paying $1,000 more plus per year for a website when I pay $300 for 2 years for each of my two websites. I have more information on my two websites, even my new one that I just put up 6 months ago, than what's on the department website. It's not the district website, it's the department website. And you need to be looking at that. It's small dollars, but every time you come in with the $100 here, $100 there, $200 here for little things, it adds up. And it's time to be looking at that website and bring it up to date, look at a better way of doing it and a less costly way. The reasons for keeping the website with the company that we have don't match up with today's technology. And again, that website was put up 8 years ago. The cost was high. When was the last time we looked at that cost? Why haven't we?
Thank you. Any more public comments? Pardon? Okay. All right. Looks like we have a motion for executive session. Do we have a second? All in favor? Aye.
I'm sorry, who made the motion?
Kip.
Thank you.
Any business afterwards? Okay.